Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Football Manager 2018 with Zebu Nation. This is our Loser to Legend series with Clyde FC, and today we have for you the quarter season update for Season 3 in Ladbrokes League 2. Alright, did you get all that? Is that all straight in your mind? So let's go. Let's start with our competitions here. Why not? As I mentioned, we are in League 2. Scottish Cup, we're still in that. We had a nice little win in the first round, so we're moving on to the second round against East Stirlingshire. Betford Cup, of course, we've been knocked out of that. And Iron Brew Cup also knocked out of that. So it's pretty much a typical season. We're still in the Scottish Cup. But we're doing very well in League 2 so far. After 9 games, you can see we're in third place right here. Clyde FC. We got 5 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses for a total of 17 points and a +3 goal differential. It's a very tight race this season at the top of the league. You can see just 5 points separates the 4th place team from the 1st place team. And we're right there in the middle with 17 points, just 3 points off the top spot. So we're well in the race this year. We're not getting knocked out earlier. We're not going to have to come back from a bad start. So this is definitely how I wanted to start the season, and it's looking pretty good. Now, something interesting to note here is that we've only got a +3 goal differential, even though we got 5 wins. Which means basically we're averaging winning by 1 goal and losing by 1 goal. So a lot of tight games this year. Our team is, pulling out the wins more than the losses, so that's good. But without that high goal differential, it makes you wonder, are we playing bad offense or good defense, or is it a little bit of both? And honestly, I think it's a little bit of both. Because if you go down here, you look at our top goal scorers for Clyde. We got Thomas the Target Man and Mark Morrison, our central defender, are both tied with 3 goals as our leading goal scorers. That's not really that great. I mean, anytime your central defender is one of your leading goal scorers, it's probably not a good thing. But you notice Mark Morrison is also our top ratings man at 7.21. That's pretty outstanding for a central defender. So he's playing very well on both ends of the field, honestly. So maybe there is something to this, playing really good defense. We could take a look at some stats that back it up a little bit. And one of the things that backs up our defense is, of course, our goalkeepers. And if you look at our goalkeepers here, not Archie Mayer. He's not our goalkeeper. Most shutouts. We got 2 guys on this list. Manson has 2 shutouts in 4 appearances. And Curry has 3 shutouts in 5 appearances. So those guys have been, you put them together, that's 5 shutouts. And that's, tied for the lead in the league. So defensively, we are playing well, especially goalkeepers, keeping those balls out of the net. Offensively, as I mentioned before, top goal scorer, we don't have anybody on the list, nobody in the top 8. Our best goal scorer is 3, and, the lowest goal scorer on this list is 4. The top goal scorers, there's a couple of guys up here with 7s. So we are behind the curve in terms of scoring goals. Our top guy, Jay McKinley, not doing so hot in terms of scoring goals. He only has 1 goal on the season, but if you look here, he is tops in the league in getting shots on target. And Thomas the Target Man is up there as well, 56% of his shots on target. So I think that, it's not good that McKinley's not scoring, but he is getting those shots on target. So you got to think eventually those balls are going to start going in the net. And if that happens, I think we can take off and start winning a lot of games. But of course, a lot of things can happen. People can get injured, all kinds of things. They can have a bad run of form. But I think so far, just looking at the players, the stats, things like that, we're doing well. I don't think there's anything you can say other than we're doing well in playoff position right now. within striking distance of the top spot, so I think there's no problems there. All right, so that's where we're at. Let's run down the checklist real quick. Not a lot has changed, but there have been a couple of key interesting notes. Under 20s, nothing going on. We haven't had our youth intake as of yet. We got a couple of injuries, but other than that, not much going on. Finances. Finances have taken a little bit of a dip, and that sort of happens around this time of year. I don't know what it is. It just seems to happen. Every year we take a dip in finances at this time of year. But we're negative 12,000 right now. That's not too bad. That's okay. We can come back from 12,000 in the hole, no problem at all. But something weird that you might have noticed over here on the right-hand side, we've got a transfer budget. Look at that, $737 in transfer money. Talk about that in a minute, but it is there if we need it. Payroll, of course, we got a lot of payroll left over. $20,000 still in the payroll we haven't used yet. Our payroll total is $254,000. It's about what it was at the end of last season, and we're only spending $227,000. So no problems there. Our scouting budget, we still got plenty of scouting budget. So come mid-season, when the transfer window reopens, we've got a little bit of flexibility here if we need it, if we need to make that push towards the playoffs. Board-wise, looking secure here at 56%. That's fine for this time of the year, this part of the season. The board's, a little more happy than unhappy. Things are looking okay. Confidence-wise, everything is pretty nominal. Leadership support is well high. Once again, 90%. And look at this. Even our tactics, 58%. They're loving our tactics. They were down like 30% last year. So we made some slight changes. And we'll talk about those in a minute. But the changes we made, the board has been the board has been happy with. All right. Club-wise, are we on the list yet? We're not on the list. Favored personnel, Ferguson, Miller, and Cudahy. Still the favored personnel. We are not an icon. We are not a legend. So, we still got that issue to deal with. Transfers. Interesting things have happened here. Look at the transfer history. We brought in a new young fella, Dylan King, central defender, 21 years old. He's not looking too good at the moment. His stats are dropping a little bit. But he's just a dude. He's kind of a warm body we brought in. He's got a lot of 9s and 10s for his stats, which isn't great. But you know what? He was kind of the best dude we could find. And a guy we could just sort of bring in, have off the bench, and not really worry too much about him. He is from Northern Ireland, so does that count as a foreign player? I don't think so. But anyway, he's not Scottish, so that's something new and exciting. Over here on the right-hand side, though, look at this. Leon Maxwell, one of our youngsters, 17 years old, valued at $2.3 thousand. Falkirk came in, swept in, and bought him up for £5,000. Could be as high as £6.25 thousand. So we got a little bit of money there, and that's where that transfer budget came from. Is the board said, well, since we sold this player, the board sold him. I didn't have anything to do with it. They made the decision. They just took the offer. And so as sort of a little bit of a token to us, they gave us a little bit of transfer budget. So that should help us out maybe eventually. I don't know. We spent 500 was like the highest that has ever been spent in this league. So if we spend 700, I mean, look out. We're just going to open the flood banks there. It's going to be, going to be a record transfer day when that happens. All right. What else can we look at here? Medical center. Got a couple of injuries. Dylan King is injured. Jack Breslin is just coming back from an injury. So that's a couple of our central defenders out. We haven't really had much problems with injuries this season. So it's been okay. I've been happy with it. The physios are doing a good job this season. No problems there. Really, dynamics. There was something interesting I want to talk about for dynamics. Now, first of all, we're looking pretty good. Match cohesion, good. In the green. Locker room atmosphere, average in the green, going up. That's good. Leadership support, of course, excellent. It's going down a little bit, but, no problems there. Hierarchy, looking good. We still have a team leader. Cudahy is still the leader. Miller is still a highly influential player, so we finally have some leadership here. I'm finally able to go to Cudahy and say, if somebody has a problem, I can have Cudahy take care of it, which is something new for this team. Before, their leadership was just all over the place. So that's good that he's in position there now. And, of course, we are well-liked. 22 players support us, nearly the whole team. Only 5 players have no opinion of us, and 0 players oppose us, so that's good. Social groups, almost everybody's in the same group. We brought in a couple of youngsters. Dylan King and Trumbull, Leach and Lindsay, a lot of youngsters in the secondary social group, but that's not a real problem. Happiness, everybody is green or mostly green. We got one guy who's poor, Ramsey, the 24-year-old midfielder. He wants to play more. It's probably not going to happen for him at 24 years old, only 7 pace. It's just not going to work out. I'm sorry, friendo. We got other guys who are playing much better. He's gotten a little bit more playing time recently just because we promised him, I guess. But, it ain't going to last, honestly. And then team meeting. This is what I wanted to talk about. So the transfer window has just passed. Not too far. Maybe 2 weeks ago, the transfer window passed. And, of course, on transfer deadline day, I decided to take part. I had $700 to spend, 700 pounds to spend. So I was like, let's see what's out there. Let's see who I can buy. And as you saw, I didn't buy anybody. But I went out and got several loan players. I went to, all the top teams in Scotland, looked at all their players they had offered out on loan, and I just asked anybody if they wanted to come. And I had 3 or 4 guys decide to come out on loans with us. And I thought that was pretty good. They weren't great players, but they would give us depth, and, they would have been pretty good subs for us, or maybe rotational players. I don't think any of them would have really been starter caliber. But like the day after transfer deadline day, the team called a meeting and said, hey, coach, the locker room atmosphere is terrible. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do about it? And I looked at the locker room atmosphere, and it was in the red. And I was like, what is happening? So I figured the only thing it could be was the transfers that I brought in. So I told them, I was like, you know what? There are some bad influences in the locker room. I'm going to get rid of them, is what I said. I think it's the top answer. And so they were okay with that. And I got rid of all the transfers. All the transfers that came in on transfer deadline day, or not transfers, the loan players. All the loan players who came in on transfer deadline day, I got rid of them all. And like after the next game, squad happiness was back to green. So I don't know. I think if you're out there, you should definitely watch transfer deadline day. If you make a lot of moves, bring in some players, and then suddenly your team cohesion goes to crap, that's something to take a look at. I mean, I don't know if it was just because they were loan players from big teams who were not really happy to be there, or what it was. But just bringing those guys in and getting rid of them just had such wild swings in our team dynamics. It was pretty crazy. Maybe it's because there was so many of them. There's 3 or 4 of them. I don't know what it was, but it seemed to be the correlation that bringing those guys in hurt and sending them away helped. So maybe that's, just a tip. If it happens to you, check that out. If you bring in loan players, maybe watch out who you bring in. All right, so that's everything that's gone on. Is there anything else we want to look at? Do we want to look at stats at all real quick? There's not a lot interesting going on here. I mentioned the goal scorers, who were our 2 top goal scorers. Andy Dallas, the winger, with 2. McKinley with only 1 goal. That's got to change. That's got to change real quick. Only 1 guy with multiple assists. That's Stewart, our fullback. We got a lot of guys with 1 assist. But just assists and goals are getting hard to come by, so we need to improve that stuff. And ratings-wise, though, we're looking pretty good. A lot of guys in the 7 ratings, and this is what I like to see with a young team. When you have a young team, you're going to have some years early on where you got a lot of guys in the 6s and maybe not so many guys in the 7 ratings. But as your team matures, as they get older, you're going to start seeing more and more guys get up here in this 7-0 and above rating, and that's really what you want to see. We got Miller, Stewart, Breslin, who's been playing a lot of central defense this year and playing very well at 707 rating. Montgomery, Dallas, and Morrison. So a lot of defensive players in there, and a couple of our midfield players as well. Montgomery has been a real revelation at midfield. He's been playing very well. So, yeah. Got a lot of good stuff to talk about. All right, let's look at the schedule, see how we got here. Look at this run of form we're on. So, we started out the season. Last game we saw was the win in the Iron Brew Cup, 3-0. We went out the next round against Hearts Under 20s, 2-0. Not a great game, honestly. They were an under 20 team, but they were just better than us at all phases. I mean, we were kind of lucky to keep it to 2-0. So I was not too unhappy with that result, even though, it looks pretty bad on paper. But starting out the League 2 season, we played very well. We crushed Albion 3-0. Montrose, 1-1 draw. Probably could have gotten a win there, but then after a loss to East Fife, who's a team that dropped down from League 1, who looks like one of the best teams in the league, after a 2-0 loss to them, we kind of changed a few things, mixed around our central defense a little bit, and went on a really nice run. 7-game unbeaten streak with 5 wins, 2 draws, until our last game that we just played against Stonehousemuir. I almost showed this game on camera because it was a big game. We were tied for first in the league with Stonehousemuir, so it was his first place game. But I wanted to get to the 9 games, and I didn't want to stop and record, honestly. So, we played that game in front of 602 fans. I put the attendance on here just so we can see what the attendance looks like, because we're third in the league in attendance right now, with averaging around 600 fans. So our attendance is going up. That's good. And I also added the weather just so you could show how often it rains here. Just rain. We've had a couple of nice days. Back here, Elgin City, August, we had a nice 80-degree sunny game. We had another 80-degree sunny game over here in June. But everything else has been, pretty windy, rainy, wet. The last week has been okay, mostly partly cloudy. That's it for the weather report. But we've had, decent fan turnout, especially at home games. And I'm happy about that. Hopefully we can continue to grow that. But our next game today, we're going up against Albion Rovers. Let's see where they're at. They're down here at the bottom, 9th place. Only 6 points on the season, so we should be able to pick up a win here. Let's go to the match and the team selections. Now, something I've been doing with my formations, I've been switching up the formations. I've been going back and forth between the 4-1-2-3 DM wide and the diamond narrow. And it's been working pretty well for us. Last game it didn't work so good. But it's done a couple of things. It's kept the team fresh by rotating in different players. We haven't been playing the same players. And it's been, maybe making us a little bit harder to prepare for because the teams don't know which of these formations we're going to come out in each, game to game. But this is what we're going to go with. We went with the DM wide last game. We're going to go with the diamond formation this game. So let's go. The other thing we've been doing is switching out our goalkeepers, which is interesting because we need to get our young goalkeeper who's a hot prospect, still our top prospect. We need to get him some playing time, and he is in there today. Manson in goal. Stewart at the left back, Duffy at the right back. I've been playing him in the diamond formation because he's a little better at getting forward. He's more of an attacking player. McNiff and Morrison in at central defense. Cudahy, of course, the team captain at defensive midfielder. 2 of our young signees this year, Thompson and Barry in the midfield, playing the Mazzala roles. Danknovich up top as the advanced playmaker, and then Thomas the target man and McKinley at the striker positions. Those 2 guys have been pairing well together. They've got a nice little partnership up top with Thomas, of course, scoring more goals this season. But, it's been a very, very good formation for us and a good good group of teammates. All right, we're the favorites here, so go out there and blah, 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 end that pep talk. Get out of the way. Here we are, home game. Not a great crowd. They know that Albion's not a good team this year, so the crowd has kind of stayed away, even though it's a pretty decent day. It's not raining. Look at that. It might be raining by halftime, but it's not raining right now. First match of the game. I don't have my Iron Brew right now. I'm going to save my Iron Brew for when we play in the Iron Brew Cup. Oh, there's Thomas with a cross. Potts gets it. Got just some regular old Pepsi today. How about that? No special colas. No fancy stuff, just regular, non-diet, non-caffeine-free Pepsi. Take a swig. First highlight. Looks like Albion's getting a highlight. Nope, there's Duffy on the counterattack. McKinley looking for Thomas. He gets forward. He's not a speed burner, but he can shoot it. It may not look like it right there, but he... one of his abilities is being able to shoot the ball, curve the ball, do all kinds of neat stuff. And that's how he scored a lot of his goals this season. Got some college football on in the background. Got the bowl games. It's bowl season. I know in the footballing world, they play a lot of games on Christmas. And this is going to sound weird to a lot of people, but I just learned about that phenomena like this year, that they play a lot of soccer matches on Christmas. Because, in my part of the world, the holiday season in Christmas time is all about college football. It's all about the bowl games. So that's usually what I watch. This year I watched... what did I watch? I watched a couple of Premier League games. I don't remember which ones. Man City, possibly. I don't know if that sounds right. Anyway, I watched a couple. Just because I found out about it. I was like, hey, they're playing, NBC Sports is who plays most of the Premier League, or shows most of the Premier League matches over here. And they were playing like 3 or 4 a day over the Christmas holiday, so that was pretty good. Oh, there's Stewart with a steal on the counterattack. Can't get it to Thomas. Still not sure exactly who this highlight is for. We are on the counterattack. Maybe we should change that. Pooler sends a cross in. Duffy with the header. Morrison keeps it in for Albion. Restarts the attack. Morrison gets it to Scott. He takes the shot and he scores. That looked deflected. That's no good. We're going to pause it. And we're going to take it off. We're on standard. We're going to work the ball in the box and be more disciplined. All right. I found that discipline and work the ball in the box has been what's worked for us this season. I don't know why those weren't on to begin with. I must have turned them off at some point, but pretty much when you have a young team, it's best to have them play with discipline. Because otherwise they don't really have the skills or experience to make the right plays. So it's better to just have them make the plays that you want them to make. All right, analysis. Close down on Pooler. Close down on Scott. And we've already started to work the ball in the box. All right. So first half looks like it's going to fly by. They got their goal. They're going to try to shut it down. Now, I don't want to have to go on to attack. I've been more patient this year in terms of not switching up what I'm doing tactically. Just sort of, go with the flow. Let the team try to play its way out of trouble. All right, dressing room, team talk. Show me something else in the second half. There we go. They're going to respond to a little bit of motivation there. Let's go. Let's go, boys. We need a much better second half. We should have controlled that first half much better. Here we go. There's a steal from Danknovich. Gets it to Tom. Oh, this is still the first highlight, so it's probably going to be nothing. But you never know. Barry gets it. Now, can he get it out wide? Ugh, that was a terrible pass, my man. Now, Miller has come in off the bench pretty much every game that he hasn't started. I think he's got 5 starts and 4 appearances off the bench. So he's probably going to come off the bench in this game again for either Barry or Thompson, whichever one of them is having a worse game. Because we can't have plays like that. Here's a highlight. Morrison drops it back for Scott, who's injured. He takes the shot wide. All right, boys, we need something a little bit better. Here's 55 minutes down. Usually by the 60-minute mark, we want to be making some moves. Here's Duffy, throw in. Danknovich heads it on. Thompson has it. Midfielder, what's he going to do with it? He's looking for some support, looking for some help. Doesn't quite know what to do with it. Drops it back to McNiff. Gets it to Cudahy, and we're restarting the offense. Out wide to Stewart. Our main assist man sends it back post. Almost goes in off the post. McKinley can't quite win that, but we're going to get a throw in near side. Let's see if we can keep the highlights rolling. Maybe. Nope. So nothing came of that throw in. 60 minutes down. Here's a new highlight. Thompson with the free kick. Why is he taking free kicks? I don't know. McKinley shoots one wide. He's probably taking free kicks because Miller's not in there. Let's look at Thompson. What's his free kicking? 6. That ain't no good. So we're going to make a sub. Definitely need to bring in Miller. Who's playing the worst? Barry and Thompson are pretty much the same, but Barry's a little bit more tired, so we'll bring in Miller. Danknovich is not playing well, so we're going to bring in Hay. See if he can do something, and we'll stick with those two for the moment. I think we'll switch Miller to ball winner because he's just too good at that position. So there we go. All right, let's see if our subs can make a difference. Losing to these guys 1-0 will just be awful. Not be happy with this result at all. 72 minutes. McNiff and Stewart playing poorly on the back line. Stewart's looking tired already, down to 69%. 77 minutes. All right, we're going to have to go attacking, I think. Close down more. Waiting for the next highlight. 79, 80. Let's tell them to concentrate. 82 minutes. Come on, boys. Here we go. Here's a highlight. McNiff to Stewart to Cudahy. We're on the attack. He sends it forward. Defense heads it up, but Miller is there. Gets it forward. McKinley. His shot is on target, but doesn't get past the goalkeeper. That's been his problem this season. He can get the ball on frame, but just can't get it past the goalkeeper. And I don't know what it is. He's got decent finishing. He doesn't have decent finishing. I thought he had better finishing than 11. 9 composure's going up, so we got to work on his finishing. For sure. Everything else is going up. McKinley just keeps getting better and better. So now it's just a matter of can he put it all together and score some goals. 3 minutes of stoppage time. We're 1 minute in. Scott with a shot. Manson makes the save. 1.5, 2 minutes. We got 1 minute left. This could be the final meaningful highlight. Miller heads it down to Thompson. Gets it up to Hay. Hay gets it forward to nobody. Defense grabs it for Albion. Oh, that was a terrible pass, but they're going to get a throw-in out of it. And we're going to lose 1-0 to these jokers. Not happy about this at all. You know, I tried to have a steady hand with these boys and let them play. I think we should have come out a little bit more aggressive against this team. You know, not a very good team this season, down at the bottom of the table, and we played it a little conservatively, I guess. A home game. Should have came out attacking from the start. But this is one of the problems when you record with the team, is what I've found. Is that you lose momentum because you need to stop to record. So it's like, who was it? I think it was Lelujo that was talking about it the other day in one of his videos, where he's like, you know, the conspiracy theory that if you reload FM, your fortunes will change, right? Like, not reload, but if you just quit the game and go back in, if you're on a good streak, it'll end your good streak and you'll go on a bad streak. And if you're on a bad streak, it'll do the opposite. It's just sort of a thing that happens. And he's right. You know, I've noticed that. I haven't been playing this game for, you know, only 3 years. And even I've noticed it. So I imagine somebody who's played it for 20 years or however long it's been out. I can imagine they definitely start to see that pattern. Whether it's a real pattern or not, I don't know. But you definitely notice it when it happens. And that seems to be what's happening here. We were on that great run, 7 games unbeaten, and now suddenly we stopped to record and we're on 2-game losing streak. So, not looking good. Mark Wilson, tell them their performance was disappointing. I'm going to be assertive. Simply put, not good enough. All right, get out of here. Get out. Not terrible ratings, just no good ratings. You know, a lot of 6.6s. I mean, I guess 6.4s and 6.3s in the second half are not good at all. But if you can't score goals, you can't win. Bully we made to rue missed chances. That indeed, we are ruining our chances for sure. All right. So what do we got? We got a packed schedule coming up is what we got. As you might have seen there real quickly. What I want to know is, why doesn't the schedule go to the day you're on? Like, whenever I go to the schedule here, it always starts me out at the beginning of the season, and I have to sort of fast forward to the end. At least the green boxes are showing up now. Like last season in FM18, the green boxes didn't always show up on the schedule. So I didn't really it was difficult to know where you were in the schedule. Like, I would have to look at the calendar, and then, you know, the calendar was kind of off last year, where if there was one day showing in the previous month, it would show you as being in that previous month. It was just, the calendar was not real easy or real convenient to use in FM17. So I'm glad it's mostly fixed in FM18, other than it always starts you out at the beginning of the season. But anyway, the point is here, we got a packed schedule coming up in the next week. We just played Albion. We got 2 days off, and then we got to play Queen's Park, and then we got 3 days until the second round of the Scottish Cup. Now, we should be able to beat Stirlingshire, no problem. They are a Lowland League team. So they're a lower division team than us. Should be able to beat them. Should be able to rotate our side, but we've been rotating our side pretty well all season, so, you know, it shouldn't be a problem. Shouldn't be a problemo. We'll come back for the mid-season update. Somewhere around, maybe we'll be able to play the Stonehouse Muir game. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, maybe we should play that. It looks like the schedule is just repeating itself, right? Because we played Stonehouse Muir, then Albion Rovers, and then the next half of the season we start out again, Stonehouse Muir, Albion Rovers. Montrose, Queen Park. Okay, so it's a little bit different. We play Montrose, then Queen's Park. In the first quarter, we played Queen's Park, then Montrose. Anyway, you don't need to know or see any of this stuff. It's just, the point is, we're going to come back mid-season and see what we're at. Maybe we'll show the Stonehouse Muir game this time, just because hopefully it'll be again for first place. We can turn around our bad form and, you know, get things going on the right track. All right, so that's it. Is that it? Do I want to say anything else? No, I don't want to say anything else. All right, that's it. We'll see you later for the mid-season review. And, yeah. Until next time, bye-bye.
There's a team they call the Clyde, who will fill your heart with pride. Dressed up in the red and black, we an L sign on the back. They've a winger and a keeper and a great big carpet sweeper. It's the bully